Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kramer's Best Moments in the Laugh Factory. Today, we're going to be reading Laughing Jack and the Origin of Laughing Jack, which is the canon prequel by the same author. For the most part, I think I remember Laughing Jack, but I've never read the Origin of Laughing Jack. Um, but I'm going to read the first story first. So yeah. It was a nice summer day, comma, my 5-year-old son James was playing outside in the backyard of our suburban home. Should that be two sentences? You know what? No, I think that's fine as one sentence, actually. Never mind. Whatever. James has always been a quiet boy. He plays with himself mostly. Oh my god. Not only is that just a very unfortunate sentence, but there was a tense swap. He never had many friends. Oh my god. But he has always had a wild imagination. I was in the kitchen feeding our dog Fido. It's just the default dog name, dude. Oh my god. It's just the default dog name. When I heard what sounded like James talking to someone in the backyard. I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure who it was he could be talking to. Could he have finally made a friend? Being a single mom, no comma, it's hard for me to always keep an eye on my son. That's not being called a single mom. That's being called an irresponsible mom. Being a single mom, it's hard for me to always keep an eye on my son. So I decided to go outside and check on him. When I went into the backyard, I was a bit confused because James was the only person back there. Was he talking to himself? I could have sworn I heard another voice. James, it's time to come inside, I called out to him. He came inside and sat down at the kitchen table. It was about lunchtime, so I decided to make him a turkey sandwich. James, who were you talking to out there? I asked. James looked up for a moment.
I was playing with my new friend.
He said, smiling. I'm surprised I can do that voice still. Oh my god. I poured him some milk and continued to pry as any good mother would. Does your friend have a name? Why didn't you ask him to have lunch with us? I asked. James stared up at me for a moment before replying.
His name is Laughing Jack.
I was a bit taken aback. I'm sorry. I was a bit taken back, not aback, but back, by what he had said. Oh, that's a strange name. What does your friend look like? I asked, a bit confused.
He's a clown. He has long hair and a big swirly cone nose. He looks like if Jeff the Killer had a stupid dildo on his face. He's got long arms and baggy pants
No, it's stripy. That's stripy.
with stripy socks, and he always smiles.
I realized my son was talking about an imaginary friend. I suppose it is normal for kids his age to have imaginary friends, especially when he has no real kids to play with. It's probably just a phase. The rest of the day went by as per usual, and it was starting to get late, so I put James to bed. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and made sure to turn on his nightlight before I closed the door. I was pretty tired myself, so I decided to go to bed not long after. I had an awful nightmare. I dreamt that I was reading this story. It was dark, and I was in some kind of run-down amusement park. I was scared, running through an endless field of empty tents, broken down rides, and abandoned game huts. The whole place had a horrible look to it. Everything was black and white. The prized stuffed animals all hung from nooses in the game huts. Edgy. Were they also listening to Papa Roach? Cut my life into pieces! This is my last resort! God, that song's a masterpiece. All with sick grins stitched onto their faces. It felt like the whole park was looking at me. The park had eyes! Several of them were looking at my titties! Even though there wasn't another living thing in sight. Then suddenly I began to hear music play. The sounds of Papa Roach. No. The sounds of Pop Goes the Weasel being played on a squeeze box echoed through the park. It was hypnotizing. It told me to take off my shirt and show my fat titties to the amusement park, which has eyes, by the way. Fuck. I followed the tune to the circus tent, almost in a trance, unable to stop my legs from moving forward. It was pitch black, Vin Diesel. The only light came from a single spotlight shining on the center of the big top. As I walked towards the light, the music slowed down. I found myself singing along, unable to stop. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey, though 'twas all in fun. The music stopped right before its climax. Oh man, you can't just edge the squeeze box like that. And suddenly the lights shot on. The intensity of the lights was practically blinding. All I could see was a small dark silhouette shuffle towards me. Then another one appeared. And another. And another. There were dozens of them, all coming toward me. I couldn't move. My legs were frozen. All I could do was watch as the haunting figures drew nearer. As they got closer, I could see... ... They were children! In all caps. As I looked at each one, I noticed that they were all horribly disfigured and mutilated. Some had cuts all over their body, others were severely burnt, and others were missing limbs, even eyes. Eyes are not limbs. The children enveloped me, clawing at my flesh, dragging me to the ground and tearing inside me. As the children tore me apart and faded away, all I could hear was laughter. Horrible, awful, evil, laughter. Oh my god. Gotta love putting the comma between evil and laughter. I woke up the next morning in a cold sweat. After taking a few deep breaths, I looked over and saw that a few of James's action figures were positioned facing me on top of my nightstand. I sighed. James had probably woken up early and put these here. I gathered up the toys and made my way to James's room. However, no comma after that. When I opened the door, James was sound asleep. I just shrugged and placed the toys back into his toy box and headed out to the living room. A little while later, James woke up and I made him his breakfast. He was quiet and seemed a bit groggy. Perhaps he didn't sleep well either. I decided to ask him about the toys. James, honey, did you put all the toys in Mummy's room this morning? His eyes shot up at me for a moment, then quickly glanced back down at his cereal.
Laughing Jack did it.
I rolled my eyes and responded, Well, you tell Laughing Jack to keep those fucking toys out of my room! You little piece of shit! I wish I never had you! God. Alright, I'm gonna read what she actually said now. Well, you tell Laughing Jack to keep the toys in your room. James nodded and finished up his breakfast. I love doing that, the fucking R roll, dude. I love rolling my R's like that. It's so funny. James nodded and finished up his breakfast, then decided to go play out in the backyard. I went to relax in the living room, and I must have dozed off, because I woke up a couple hours later. Shit! I need to check on James. Oh, I need to pretend to be a good mother so Child Protective Services doesn't take my son away from me. I was a bit worried. It had been over 2 hours, and I haven't checked on him. What a great mom. Mom of the year right here. I went I stepped out into the backyard, but James wasn't there anymore. I was getting nervous, so I called out to him, James! James, where are you? In all caps. Just then I heard a giggle come from the front yard. I rushed through a gate around the front of the house. James was sitting on the sidewalk. I breathed a sigh of relief and walked over to him. James, how many times have I told you to stay in the backyard? ... James, what are you eating? James looked up at me, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of hard candies in all colors. This made me very nervous. James, you are not allowed to have candy, you little fuck! Who gave you that candy? James just stared at me, not speaking. James! In all caps. Please tell Mommy where you got that candy. James hung himself. No. James hung his head down and said,
Laughing Jack gave it to me.
My heart sunk. I'm pretty sure it should be sank. I don't know if sunk is also correct, but whatever. I kneeled down to look him in the eye. James, I've had enough of... I've had... Oh my god. I've had enough of this damn Laughing Jack thing. He is not real! In all caps. Now this is a very serious situation and I need to know who gave you the candy. You little fucker. I can see my son's eyes tear up.
But Mama, Laughing Jack
did! In all caps.
Give me the candy.
I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. James had never lied to me, but what he was telling me was impossible. I make it. Yes! 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 10 swaps! Oh, God, I've missed you. Oh, God, I've missed you, 10 swaps. Beautiful. Beautiful. I make him spit out the candy and I throw the rest away. I then slap him in the fucking face. James appears to be fine. Maybe I'm just overreacting after all he had... What the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck? This punctuation is garbage. Maybe I'm just overreacting after all. No comma. He could have gotten it from Tom and Linda from next door or Mr. Walker down the street. Either way, I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on James. That night I put James to bed as usual and decided to go to bed early myself. Suddenly I was woken up by a loud bang coming from the kitchen. At least it wasn't suddenly I was woke up. I sprung out of bed and hurried down the stairs. When I got to the kitchen I was horrified. Everything on the counters had been thrown on the floor and our dog Fido hung dead from the light fixture. Oh, this is gross. And also a really common horror trope. The dog died. Oh my god, I don't want to fucking read this. Fine, whatever. His stomach was cut open and stuffed with candy, the same type that James was eating earlier that day. My shock was quickly broken by a sharp scream coming from James's room, followed by loud crashes. I quickly grabbed a knife from the drawer and moved up the stairs with the speed that only a mother whose child is in danger could have. I burst through the door and flicked on the lights. Everything in the room was knocked over and tossed on the floor. My poor son in his bed crying and shaking with fear. A pool of urine staining his sheets. Is that fucking piss, you little bastard? What did I tell you about peeing yourself? I scooped my child up and ran out of the house and went next door to Tom and Linda's house. Capital L, luckily they were still awake. They let me use their phone and I called the police. It didn't take them long to arrive, and I explained what had happened. They looked at me as if I were crazy. I feel like that should be a new sentence, but okay. They searched the house, but all they found was a dead dog and 2 trashed rooms. That douchebag killed his fucking dog! I love that video. Oh my god.
That douchebag killed his fucking dog. That's just crossing the line. I mean, he was real close to that dog, you know?
The officer told me that someone had probably gotten into the house and done this right before making a quick escape when they heard me coming up the stairs. I knew it wasn't true. All the doors were locked and none of the windows were open. Whatever was in my house didn't come from outside. Whoa! The call was coming from inside the house, and the person on the line was laughing, Jack. Oh, oh! The next day, James stayed inside. I didn't want him to leave my sight. That's one sentence. There should be two. I went into the garage and found his old baby monitor and set it up in his room, comma. If anything comes into his room tonight, I was going to be able to hear it. The tense swaps were turned again. That's nice. I was just starting to miss them again. I went to the kitchen and grabbed the largest knife from the drawer and put it on my nightstand. Two big things I've noticed in this story are the amount of run-on sentences when there are a lot of sentences that should be split up into two different sentences. And also there's a lot of usage of the word and. Like, I went to the kitchen and grabbed the largest knife from the drawer and put it on my nightstand. You should replace the first and with a comma. This is something most people learn in 3rd grade. Oh my god. This fucking story. Imaginary friend or not, I'm not letting anything hurt my little boy. Soon enough, night came, and so did Laughing Jack. In more ways than one. I'm so fucking immature. Oh my god. I put James to bed. He was afraid, but I promised him that. Yet again with the commas where periods should be. I put James to bed, comma, he was afraid, comma, but I promised him that. Split this up into two different sentences. You should split this up into two different sentences. There's no reason that this sentence should be this long. I put James to bed. He was afraid, but I promised him that I wasn't going to let anything happen to him. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and turned on the nightlight. Holy shit. That is a correctly structured sentence. Oh my god. I tucked him in, comma, gave him a kiss, comma, and turned on the nightlight. Bravo, author. Bravo. You did it. You fucking did it. You fucking did it. You fucking did it, man. I'm so proud of you. Oh my god. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Bellissimo. Bellissimo. Before closing the door, I whispered to him, "Good night, James. I love you." Oh my god, I can't believe I just fucking said that. I tried to stay up as long as I could, but after a few hours I felt myself drifting off. My baby would be safe for the night, and I needed to sleep. Just as I lay my head on the pillow, I heard a soft noise come from the baby monitor I had put on my nightstand. At first, it sounded like interference, like the kind a radio would make. Then it turned into a soft moan. Man, Laughing Jack really did come. Was James asleep? Then I heard it, the laugh from my nightmare, that horrible laugh. I sprung up from bed and grabbed the knife from under my pillow. I rushed over to James's room and creaked the door open. I tried the light switch, but it wouldn't come on. wouldn't come on. I took a step in and I could feel the warm liquid on my feet. James, did you piss yourself again?
Mommy, stop!
Oh god. Oh. Suddenly James's nightlight came on and I could see the absolute horror laid out in front of me. James's body was nailed up on the wall. Oh man, it's time for some really fucking brutal imagery. Just gore for the sake of gore. Hooray. The nails piercing through his hands and feet, his chest was cut wide open, and his organs hung down to the floor. His eyes and tongue had been removed, along with most of his teeth. I was disgusted. I'm disgusted reading this fucking story. This is tasteless. I could hardly believe this was my baby boy. Then I heard it, the soft, desperate moan. James was still alive! In all caps. My baby, my poor baby, in so much pain, barely clinging to life. I ran across the room and vomited on the floor. This story makes me want to vomit on the floor, but my sickness was interrupted by a horrible cackle coming from behind me. I spun around while still wiping bile from my mouth, then out of the shadows emerged the fiend responsible for all this horror, Laughing Jack. That, I'm pretty sure, should be a colon. You wouldn't want to know what Laughing Jack did to mine. His ghost white skin and matted black hair hung down to his shoulders. Oh man, he looks awfully familiar. He had piercing white eyes surrounded by dark black rings. Oh man, he looks awfully familiar. His twisted smile revealed a row of sharp, jagged teeth. Oh man, he looks awfully familiar. And his skin didn't look like skin at all. It almost looked like rubber or plastic. Oh man, he looks awfully familiar.
He wore a patchy black and white clown outfit with striped sleeves and socks. His body itself was grotesque. His long arms hanging down past his waist and... Jeff the Killer! Laughing Jeff!
Oh my god. He wore a patchy black and white clown outfit with striped sleeves and socks. His body itself was grotesque, his long arms hanging down past his waist. The way he was poised made him look almost boneless, like a rag doll in Gary's butt. No, he let out a sickening laugh, as if to let me know he was pleased with my reaction to his quote-unquote work. He then turned around slowly in front of James and began to laugh even more at the horrific sight he has laid out. That was enough to shake me from my terror, I snapped,
"Get away from him, you bastard!"
I rushed at the monster, raising the knife above my head, and stabbed down at him. But as soon as the knife touched him, he disappeared into a cloud of black smoke. I remember this part. The knife passed right through and pierced James's still beating heart, splashing the warm blood on my face. No. What have I done? My baby. I killed my baby. I immediately fell to my knees, and I could hear sirens in the distance growing louder. My boy, my sweet baby boy. I promised mommy would protect you. But I failed. I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry. Alright, here's the last paragraph. Police soon arrived to find me in front of my son, still wielding the knife covered in my baby's blood. The trial was short. Insanity. I was placed in Arkham Asylum now. I was placed in the... What the fuck? The Ferropolis house for the criminally insane, where I have been for the past 2 months. It's not so bad here. The only reason I'm awake now is because someone is playing Pop Goes the Weasel outside my window. I'll talk to the orderlies about it in the morning. Then end. That was horrible. Oh god, that was so bad. Unlike other stories, it wasn't the spelling that was bad. It was mainly like the punctuation and the sentence structure, as well as just the story itself was just not good. Like it was just pointless violence. that just kind of happened one night. He just kind of appears and he mutilates James, and the mom kills him, and it's just pointless. It was completely pointless. That was fucking, oh my god. Just gore for the sake of gore. And his design is just a blatant copy of Jeff the Killer, just completely uninspired. That was so much worse than I remember it being. Oh. Alright, well, off to read the origin story of our favorite Jeff the Killer ripoff with a big butt plug for a nose. The origin of Laughing Jack. It's Christmas Eve in snowy 1800s London, England.
Yes! Yes! I love child labor! I love child labor! Let's go!
And in a small house at the edge of town, there lived a lonely 7-year-old boy named Isaac. That was one sentence. That whole thing I just read was one sentence. At least use a semicolon, man. Like, come on. Isaac was a sad child with not a friend to his name. While most children were spending their time with their families and eagerly looking forward to opening the presents that were placed with care beneath a beautifully decorated Christmas tree, little Isaac spent this most holy of nights alone in his cold, dusty attic room. Isaac's parents were very poor. His mother was a strict crow of a woman who stayed at home and schooled Isaac. His father worked long hours down at the London harbour to support his family, although a large portion of his earnings went towards purchasing and consuming copious amounts of alcohol at the end of his shift. Oh my god. Fucking long-ass sentences, dude. Oh my god. Sometimes he would come home drunk after being thrown out of every bar in London and shout at his beloved wife, Isaac's mother. Yes, I know who the wife would be. I know who the wife would be. I know who Isaac's mother would be. She would be the father's wife. And also, she doesn't seem very beloved if all he does is scream at her. Occasionally, it would escalate to violence and he would beat her savagely. Then, when he was done, he'd... fuck, man. You can't just... Oh my fucking god. This is fucking gross. This is fucking gross, man. Don't write this fucking shit. This is tasteless. I'm not... He'd force himself upon her in a drunken sexual rage. As it so happens, this particular night was one of those occasions. Isaac just remained quiet, quivering beneath his soiled bedsheets until the screams and loud bangs subsided. I feel like I need to take a shower after reading this. God damn, man. Fucking tasteless. Completely fucking tasteless. Once poor frightened Isaac was finally able to fall asleep, he'd dream about what it would be like to have a friend to play with. He'd have a dream of what it would be like to work in the factory. Every British child's dream. So maybe he could laugh and be happy like the other children of London. Luckily for little Isaac, this Christmas Eve marked a big change when his abysmal loneliness caught the attention of a guardian angel who then crafted a very special gift for the sad little London boy. If only he could work in the mines with the other children, then he'd be truly happy. Oh, fuck. As the sun rose on that Christmas morning, Isaac opened his eyes to find a strange wooden box sitting at the foot of his bed. With eyes widened in awe, he stared at the colorful, handcrafted box, wondering who had left it. He was not used to receiving gifts, especially toys. What little toys Isaac did have were ones he'd found abandoned in the street or washed up in the gutters. Oh my god. Isaac scooted up to the foot of his bed in front of the mysterious box and picked it up with both hands. The box was beautifully painted in colorful styles with carvings of happy clown faces on the side. There was a tag on the box that simply read, "For Isaac." On the top of the box was an engraved text. Isaac squinted his eyes as he sounded out the words. Oh man, which voice should I give him? Oh, I know. I know.
Laugh, Jack in a box.
He paused.
Laughing cow. I fucking hate cow. That stupid Jew. Laughing Jack in a box.
Isaac had heard of a Jack in the Box, but never a laughing Jack in the Box. His mind spun with curiosity as he grasped the box's metal crank. Isaac tuned the crank, and the song "Pop Goes the Weasel" chimed in rhythm with the crank's gyrations. Oh my god. Is that crank from Adam and Eve? As the song came to its climax. Speaking of Adam and Eve, holy shit! Isaac sang along with the final verse. Fucking, what voice did I give him again? Oh yeah, Cartman.
Pop goes the weasel.
But nothing happened. Isaac let out a sigh.
Fuck! It's broken!
Oh, shit. He placed the box back down on the edge of the bed and shuffled across his small, dusty room to the dresser where he changed out of his soiled sleepwear. Did he shit himself? What the fuck? And into his usual tattered clothes.
Oh man, I hate being poor. Being poor is so fucking weak, dude.
Oh, God. Suddenly, Isaac heard a loud rattling noise coming from the bed behind him. He spun around to witness the wooden box violently shaking. Then, without warning, the top of the... Fucking Christ. Listen to that shit. Ugh. Then, without warning, the top of the box swung open and a parade of colorful smoke and confetti bellowed out. Yeah, that's the right usage of that word. Isaac rubbed his eyes in disbelief of what he was seeing. As the smoke cleared, there stood a tall, thin, multicolored clown man with bright red hair, a swirly, rainbow-colored cone nose, and feathery shoulders that sat atop his raggedy and colorful clown outfit. Oh my god. The Technicolor clown spread his arms and excitedly... Which voice should I give him? Oh yeah, I know. Fucking...
You have 3 nights. Tonight counts as the first.
Oh my god, I love doing the fucking Nosferatu voice. Oh god, it's so good.
Come one, come all. Whether big or small. To see the best clown of them all. The one, the only, Nosferatu.
No.
The one, the only, Laughing Jack in a Box.
Isaac's eyes lit up.
Who are you?
He asked. The colorful carny stepped down off the bed and with a happy grin said,
You must bounce on it.
Oh, fuck.
What the fuck's wrong with you, dude? I'm like fucking 9, you freak.
I'm glad you asked. I am Laughing Jack, your new friend for life. I'm magical. I never get tired of playing. I'm a whiz at the accordion. And I adapt and develop with your own changing personality. Dot, dot, dot. In other words, whatever you like, I like.
Isaac looked up at the mysterious clown man.
We're friends?
He stuttered. Jack looked at the boy while cocking an eyebrow.
Friends? God no, fuck you, you fucking bitch! I am not going to be friends with a stinking liberal hack!
He's like really fucking conservative. He's like,
You voted for Kamala Harris. We all know that women do not belong in the White House. Donald Trump is curing America from its woke plague.
oh my god, okay. That's enough. Time to read the fucking story again. Shit, man.
Friends. We're best friends. I was specifically created to be your not so imaginary friend, Isaac.
Isaac's jaw dropped.
You know my name? Holy shit, dude, this is tits!
Jack let out a whimsical laugh.
Of course I know your name. I know everything about you. So now that the introductions are out of the way, dot, dot, dot. How would you like to bounce on it?
Oh god, no. Fuck, no.
How would you like to play a game of I Spy?
Oh, fuck. I need water. Oh, God. Isaac grinned from ear to ear.
Really? We can play games? Holy shit! I'd love to. I dash dot 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 oh dot dot dot.
He paused.
I can't without an apostrophe. There's no apostrophe in there. I have to go downstairs to see mother for homeschooling and chores. Dot dot dot.
His smile faded into a look disappointment. Jack placed his hand on Isaac's shoulder and with a warm smile said,
It's okay. I'll be waiting right here for you when you get back.
Isaac's smile returned as he looked up at his new friend. Just then he heard his mother's shrill voice coming from downstairs.
Well, I gotta go. I'll see you after I'm done, okay, Jack?
He said as he headed towards the door. Jack smiled.
Absolutely, kiddo. Oh, and Isaac.
Isaac looked back at Jack, who gave him a wink and said,
You should wear that smile more often. It suits you.
Isaac grinned happily as he turned and walked out the door. Oh, God. This fucking sucks. All day, no comma, Isaac told his mother about the amazing, colorful clown man who came out of a magical box that appeared on the foot of his bed. His mother, however, did not believe a word of it. Why the fuck would she? Finally, he persuaded his mother to follow him up to his room so she could behold Laughing Jack for herself. They walked up the stairs and Isaac swung open the door to his room.
See, Mother? He's right here. Da da da.
Isaac paused as he scanned the room that contained neither magical dancing clown man nor mysterious wooden box. Isaac's mother was not amused. She gave Isaac a glare so menacing that it made his knees weak and his stomach sick. Knees weak, arms heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. Fuck, man. And also, what kind of fucking phrase is his stomach sick? This fucking blows.
But Mother, da da da. He was
Smack! Oh my god. Isaac's mother delivered onto him with a swift, hard smack across the face. His eyes began to tear up and his lip began to quiver as he could feel himself about to break down.
You stupid, insolent child! How dare you lie to me about such childish idiocy? Who would want to be friends with a useless worm such as you?
Who the is this fucking Hux? Why is she calling him a worm?
With a useless worm such as you? You shall remain in your room for the rest of the evening and shall receive no dinner. ... Now what do you say, you ungrateful wretch?
Oh my god. Fucking Mother of the Year. Holy shit. Isaac managed to swallow the knot in his throat in order to mutter a reply. Oh my god.
Thank you, ma'am.
His mother glared down at him for a moment before leaving the room in disgust. Isaac kneeled over, burying his face in the side of the bed. Streams of tears ran down his cheeks as he began to weep. What's wrong, no kama kiddo? A voice called out. Isaac looked over to the edge of the bed where Laughing Jack was now suddenly sitting beside him.
Where were you?
Isaac murmured. Jack ran his hand through Isaac's hair to comfort him as he softly replied, I was hiding, ... I can't let your parents see me, ... Otherwise they won't let us play anymore. Isaac wiped the tears from his eyes. Look, kiddo, I'm sorry I had to hide. But I'll make it up to you. Because tonight we can play games and have tons of fun, Jack said, smiling.
I fucking hate you. I think you should kill yourself.
No. Isaac looked up at his vibrant pal and silently nodded as a little smile began to form in the corners of his mouth. That night, Laughing Jack and the fat fuck played so many fun games. With a wave of his hand, Jack made all of Isaac's tin soldiers spring to life and march around the room. Isaac was amazed as he watched his toys move around the room on their own. Then Laughing Jack and Isaac told each other spooky ghost stories. Isaac asked Jack if he knew about
Jeff the Killer!
No. Isaac asked Jack if he was a ghost, but Jack explained that he was more of a cosmic entity of sorts. At the end of the night, Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out an assortment of delicious candy. Isaac was in ecstasy when he popped the first colorful treat in his mouth, as it was his first time tasting something so sweet. Isaac had so much fun and laughed so hard that night that things seemed to be finally looking up for little Isaac, at least until the incident that occurred 3 months later, It was pleasantly warm and sunny in London that day, which was a bit of a rarity. Yeah, it really is. So with the help of a certain not-so-imaginary friend, Isaac was able to finish his chores early and was allowed to go outside and play for a bit. Things started simply enough. The duo were back behind the house playing pirates. That should be a separate sentence, but it's not. When Isaac spotted the neighbor's no apostrophe cat, sneaking into their garden. He's gonna fucking kill the cat. Laughing Jack's gonna kill the fucking cat.
Yeah, we got an enemy spy off the starboard bow.
Isaac yelled, captivated by fantasy and imagination.
Yo ho! I'll get him, Captain Isaac!
Exclaimed first mate Jack in his best hearty pirate accent. Laughing Jack's arm stretched out across the garden and snatched the unsuspecting feline, who began to struggle quite vigorously.
Don't let him get away, Jackie, or I'll make you walk the plank,
Isaac antagonized. Jack's grip on the cat tightened, and his arms grew and extended like anacondas, wrapping themselves around the wily feline as it struggled for dear life. Jack's arms just kept squeezing the animal, pressing the air out of its lungs. As the once dear house pet's eyes began to bulge out of their sockets, there came a loud snap. Jack quickly released the creature from his grasp as its lifeless, furry husk thudded against the ground. There was hushed silence as the two observed the cat's now twisted and mangled corpse. The silence was finally broken by an uproarious laughter, coming from Isaac,
Wow, I guess cats really don't have 9 lives. Fucking idiot.
Oh my god, he really is Cartman. Isaac exclaimed, nearly teary-eyed from laughter. Laughing Jack began to... I almost said cuckle. Laughing Jack began to chuckle as well.
Ha ha! Yeah, But won't you get in trouble if your mother finds your neighbor's cat dead in her garden?
Isaac's laughter quickly subsided.
Oh no, you're right. I'll just throw it back into the neighbor's yard? Question mark, exclamation mark.
Isaac panicked as he grabbed a nearby shovel and scooped up the broken cat cadaver before lobbing it over the fence back into the neighbor's no apostrophe yard. No apostrophe in neighbors again. Great writing. They quickly went back inside and up into Isaac's room. Well, that kid's a fucking psychopath. About an hour later, it came.
I came in my pants.
Fuck. I'm sorry. The ear-piercing squawk of Isaac's mother shrieking his name from downstairs. Neither Jack nor Isaac said a word as he crept down the stairs alone to face whatever horrible fate was coming for him. Was coming to him. Jack could hear much yelling from downstairs, but couldn't make out what was being said. After about 30 minutes, a teary-eyed Isaac ascended the stairs back up into the room.
Well,
Jack asked nervously. Isaac just stared at the ground as he spoke.
Capital T tried to tell her it was you who hurt the cat. She didn't believe me. Said you weren't real. Dot dot dot.
Jack frowned, knowing this was all his fault. Isaac used his sleeve to wipe away his tears.
I'm being sent off to boarding school. Dot dot dot. I'm leaving tonight. Dot dot dot. And you can't come with me. Dot dot dot.
Laughing Jack's face turned to shock. That's a great sentence, man. What? Question mark! Exclamation mark! I can't come. Where will I go? Isaac said nothing but pointed over at the beautiful colored box from where his friend had originated. Back in there. But I won't be able to get out until ... Jack paused. Isaac looked up at his only friend with tears streaming down his face.
Jack. Dot dot dot. I promise. Fuck. Oh. God damn it. I fucked up my line. This is stupid. Jack. Dot dot dot. I promise I'll come back for you as soon as I can.
Jack looked at the box, then back at Isaac. Oh, God, this fucking paragraph structure sucks dick. And I'll be right here waiting for you, kiddo. Jack smiled as a single tear ran down his cheek. Fucking. He walked over to the box and with a puff of smoke was sucked back in, unable to be free until once again opened. Oh, God. How long's this piece of shit? Fuck. Ugh. That night, Isaac was sent off to boarding school. For the first time, Laughing Jack felt what it was like to be lonely. What do you fucking mean? He was trapped in a box for who knows how long beforehand. Ugh. This fucking story sucks. Even when trapped in his box, Jack was able to see the things going on around it, so each day he waited for his friend to return, and each day the room grew older and dustier. That was one fucking sentence. Laughing Jack's one purpose was to be Isaac's best friend for life, and now he had to wait day after day, month after month to reunite with his special friend. Isaac's parents still lived in the house, but never came to the upstairs room. The only time they made their presence known was when Jack would hear them fighting. Still, Jack's life became one of solitude, loneliness, and disappointment. As years went by, Jack's once bright, vibrant, no comma between bright and vibrant, colors began to fade into a monochrome blur of pitch black Vin Diesel void and stark white emptiness, trapped all alone, ... eternal and hopeless. 13 years passed until the night Isaac's father came home particularly drunk and got into an argument with his wife as per usual. Things escalated to physical violence once again. However, this time she didn't get back up. Isaac's father had beaten his wife to a dead, bloody pulp and was sentenced to hang at the gallows the next day. With both his parents dead, this meant that the now 20-year-old Isaac inherited the dusty old house he spent, no comma between dusty and old, he spent the earlier half of his childhood in. Laughing Jack was quite surprised when he heard his old friend's footsteps walking up the stairs to the attic room for the first time in 13 years. However, it was not the reunion Jack had hoped for. Isaac looked ... different. Not only was he older, but he also seemed to possess this odd, grim look on his face. No longer was he the hopeful and curious young boy Jack first met all those years ago. Jack eagerly awaited Isaac's releasing him from the prison he had waited in for so many years, but still Jack's box sat there untouched and unnoticed on a shelf in the corner of the room with all the other dusty, unwanted knickknacks. This story sucks. Please make it end. Isaac had completely forgotten about his old friend, dismissed as some sort of early childhood fabrication. Surprisingly, this made Laughing Jack feel ... nothing. He was hollow. 13 years of waiting and disappointment left the monochrome clown void of sorrow and self-pity. Jack remained in his box, colorless and without emotion. The next day, Isaac went off to work at his job as an upholsterer, doing furniture repairs for the good people of London. Jack waited in captivity. Hours later, a drunken Isaac returned home and stumbled up the stairs to his room, but this time he had a friend with him. It was a lady friend Isaac had picked up at the bar earlier that evening. She was beautiful, with flowing blonde hair, sapphire blue eyes, and big fucking tits! No, and a smile that could make hearts melt. Laughing Jack's attention was drawn to Isaac's guest.
Who is this? A new friend? Why does Isaac need new friends? I thought I was Isaac's only friend.
Jack thought to himself from within his hellish confinement. Isaac and his lady friend sat down on the bed and chatted about life in London. Isaac made a joke about the weather, and they both laughed. Laughing Jack hissed with envy over Isaac's new friend. Isaac and the girl looked deeply into each other's eyes and fucked. No. And as they leaned in for a kiss, locking lips with a passionate swirling of tongues in one another's mouth. You do not need to go into that much detail, man. Jack was perplexed by this strange display of affection, for he had never seen kissing before. What the fuck? As the kissing grew more intense, Isaac ran his hand along the girl's smooth thigh and upper dress. However, his guest just brushed his hand away. What the fuck? Isaac was persistent, though, and once again ran his hand along her smooth thigh and upper skirt, this time placing his hand upon her silky undergarments. The woman took great displeasure with Isaac's sexual advancements. Not advances, but advancements, and pushed Isaac away before delivering a hard smack across his face. Isaac's eyes darkened as he glared at the woman. His once drunken passion turned into booze-fueled anger. The woman's heart sped up as she saw Isaac's face boil with rage.
Stupid whore!
Isaac yelled as he smashed his fist into the girl's face. Laughing Jack's eyes widened as he witnessed the long streaks of red liquid gushing from the girl's nose, as well as the long streaks of shit in the author's underwear.
What game is this?
He thought, his eyes a virgin, like the author, to such violent sights. Isaac firmly clutched the girl's wrist in one hand as he... I'm not fucking reading this fucking bullshit, dude. Oh, God, that's... What the fuck? This is fucking disgusting, man. This is fucking tasteless. Yeah, I'm skipping that paragraph, dude. Fuck it. Reaching back, he wielded a lead candlestick off the nightstand beside him, and with all of his might bashed in the back of the young woman's head, which burst open like a ripe watermelon. Thick blood splattered across the room as the girl's body convulsed on the ground for several seconds before going completely still. Blood was everywhere. Some droplets even managed to get on Laughing Jack's box, who was very much enjoying the show. For the first time in 13 long years, a smile began to creep across Laughing Jack's face, and all of a sudden, a chuckle escaped his cold lips, then another, and another, until Jack was cackling and howling with laughter from inside his sealed box.
What a wonderfully fascinating game,
Jack thought, as he watched the motionless girl's golden blonde hair flow red with blood. How much of this is fucking left, man? As the adrenaline began to mellow, Isaac realized he had to dispose of the body. He picked up the girl's lifeless corpse and plopped it on the bed. Yes, because a corpse can be alive. He then left the room, closing the door behind him and locking it before leaving the house. He returned almost a full day later and re-entered the room, bringing with him a metal garbage can and his bag of upholstery tools from work. He then cleared everything off the wooden desk on the wall opposite to the door, and then dragged the bed with bloody corpse into the middle of the room. This not only gave Isaac room to work, but it also gave Laughing Jack a front row seat to the whole spectacle. Jack watched with a big, unfading grin as Isaac played his new game with the soiled corpse. Once Isaac was all set up, he got to work. First, he dumped out the contents of his big black tool bag onto the work table behind him. An assortment of knives, hammers, pliers, and other tools was now laid out before him. His first pick was a curved upholstery knife, which he used to carefully skin the body. Do I have to fucking read this? This is fucking gross, man. Fucking dismembering her body, fucking maggots made soup out of her fucking corpse. He made her into a chair. Yeah, wow, okay. I am gonna fucking skip the next, like, 3 paragraphs, man. Alright. Yeah, he just made a human chair with fucking bones. Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. In the following weeks, Isaac made several improvements to his little workshop of horrors. He removed the mattress from the bed and put a row of thick wooden planks in its place, and then he fastened arm and leg restraints to the bottom and sides. This would mean he would be able to entertain his guests for a longer period without them trying any rude escape attempts. Isaac needed only one final thing before planning another grotesque party. He worked on it for a week straight, hand carving it out of wood. After a coat of white paint was applied, Isaac's creation was complete. It was a wooden mask resembling something one would wear at a Venetian masquerade ball. It had a furrowed brow and a long troll-like nose, and would allow him to strike fear in the hearts of his beloved guests. With his new face complete and the room transformed into a bloody murder nest, it was finally time for Isaac Lee Grossman to bring home a new playmate. It never really mentioned his last name until this part, which is strange. Like, you'd think that his last name would be established in the beginning of the story if it's being mentioned now. But no. That following night, Laughing Jack watched as the masked Isaac Grossman stomped up the stairs, carrying with him a large burlap sack with his newest guest writhing within. He dumped the bag out on his torture bed, and out plopped a bound, gagged, and very frightened young man, probably only 20 or 21 years old. Isaac quickly undid the man's bindings and held him down as he restrained his hands and feet to the steel bed frame. Tears streamed endlessly down the man's helpless little face as Isaac laid out his tools on the workbench. Isaac returned wielding a pair of rusty pliers and wasted no time as he slid the bottom jaw of the pliers under the I am not gonna fucking read this. Oh. This is just fucking torture porn. This is just fucking, like, gore for the sake of gore. Just fucking... That's... Ah, God, that's fucked. Fuck. Yeah, I'm not fucking reading this shit. Ew. Fuck, man. As the man struggled with intense pain, Isaac placed the hammer down on the wood bed and returned once more to the workbench, where he equipped himself with a long, sharp knife. Without delay, he began carving the words "useless worm" into the man's quivering chest. Yes, because he's fucking Hux now. When he finished, the man was barely conscious. Isaac knelt down and whispered into the man's ear,
This is what happens to rotten people who make nasty faces at people.
Oh my God, this is so stupid. The man's eyes filled with tears one final time as Isaac began to carve the skin off the man's face, but to Isaac's surprise, the man still clung to life. The mutilated man just stared up at Isaac with his big round eyes, which filled Isaac's black heart with rage and hatred.
Even without a face, he's still an ugly little shit.
Isaac shouted, witty, as he picked up the hammer from the foot of the bed and began to bash the poor man's skull in. I'm not reading that. I'm just gonna skip this fucking bullshit. He killed the guy and Laughing Jack was happy. Isaac's next guest was a blind old woman whom he had invited over for some tea. Kills her. Finds another woman. He kills her. Laughing Jack is turned on by it. He's jacking off, coming all over the place. This is fucking repetitive. This is as repetitive as JC the Hyena's list of all the dudes he's fucked. Okay, this one isn't filled with fucking tasteless torture smut, so I'm gonna read this one. The rusty nails that were holding up the shelf of the forgotten knickknacks finally gave way, and the whole thing plummeted to the ground. Isaac heard the loud thud from downstairs and decided to climb up to the attic to investigate. He walked across the blood-stained wood floor of the attic over toward the fallen shelf. Isaac brushed aside some of the trinkets that broke in the crash. When he finally came across the jack-in-a-box from his childhood, Isaac barely recognized the old tattered box as he picked it up and blew off some of the dust. Then, for whatever nostalgic reason, he decided to grasp the box's rusty clank, and begin turning it. A horribly off-key Pop Goes the Weasel clanked from the... Fucking Christ, dude. Clanked, again, from the worn-out old box, and as it reached its climax, Isaac sung along with the final verse.
Pop goes the weasel, dot, dot, dot.
The top of the box swung open, but nothing happened. It was empty. Isaac expected as much, and he tossed the old box in the garbage with the other broken knickknacks. After the mess was cleaned up, he went to open the door to go back downstairs, but it was stuck. Isaac pulled hard, but the door wouldn't budge. Just then he heard the most horrible raspy voice call out from behind him. Capital I, lowercase s, capital S, lowercase s, lowercase a, capital A, lowercase a, lowercase c, dot, dot, dot. A cold jolt ran down Isaac's spine, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood straight up as he slowly turned around. Dot, dot, dot. All the way across the room by the garbage can stood the nightmarish Laughing Jack. He was completely monochrome. His mangled black hair hung down in twisted locks. Sharp, jagged teeth decorated his twisted grin, and his arms hung down like a rag doll, with his grotesquely long fingers nearly scraping the floor. Then, with a bone-chilling, raspy voice, the fiendish clown spoke. How nice is it to finally be free! Exclamation mark, dot, dot, dot. Did you miss me, Isaac? Isaac was paralyzed with fear.
But I thought you weren't real. Lowercase b and butt, by the way. Dot, dot, dot. In all caps, imaginary! Question mark, exclamation mark.
Isaac stuttered. Jack replied with a long, horrifying cackle. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, I'm quite real, kiddo. Dot, dot, dot. In fact, I've been waiting such a long time for this day to finally come. Dot, dot,
dot. When I can play with my best friend for life, dot, dot, dot. 1, dot, capital L, last, dot, capital T, time.
Before Isaac could reply, Jack's long arms stretched across the room and wrapped around Isaac's legs. The twisted clown began pulling him closer, dragging him on his own wooden torture bed as Isaac's fingernails scraped along the floor. Ignoring the restraints, Jack swiftly grabbed 4 3-inch long iron nails from the workbench and pressed them straight through Isaac's hands and feet, nailing him to the wooden torture bed. Isaac growled in pain as he shouted at his captor,
Ah, fuck you, goddamn clown nose freak!
Laughing Jack just chuckled as he forcefully held Isaac's head in place, stating,
If you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all.
This fucking sucks. Jack reached his long, crooked fingers into Isaac's mouth, firmly grasping his tongue and stretching it out as far as it could go. Kinky. The clown then reached back and grabbed a long, sharp knife. Blah, 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 blah. He cuts off his tongue.
Come on, it's no fun if you don't watch,
Laughing Jack said playfully, but Isaac kept his eyes tightly shut. This is fucked. This is fucking gross. He fucking puts hooks in his face, near his eyes, like pinning them open and shit. Then he fucking gets rid of his lips.
dot, dot, dot. Looks like someone hasn't been flossing regularly. Dot, dot, dot. I love the floss from Fortnite. Cranking 90s with Nosferatu.
Oh my god. That's my dog back at it again. Laughing Jack cackled underneath his breath as he reached back and grabbed the hammer. He breaks his teeth. Then he cuts open his chest. Oh, thank God, I'm almost done. Holy shit. First, Jack began to pull out Isaac's intestines in the same manner a magician would pull out a series of colorful cloths out of his pocket. I'm not gonna skip anything. No matter how fucked it gets, I'm gonna read this. Then, after snipping off a small length of intestines, Jack pressed one end against his cold black lips and began blowing air into the foul organ. What the fuck? Once inflated, he twisted it up into the shape of a poodle and with a loud chuckle exclaimed,
I can do giraffes too.
Isaac remained still in pain and shock as the clown creature gently placed the macabre balloon animal beside Isaac's head. For his next trick, Laughing Jack reached deep into Isaac's open stomach cavity and yanked out one of his kidneys. Holding it in his hand, Jack turned to his captive friend and shrugged, stating that
Lowercase k kidneys really aren't my thing. Dot, dot, dot.
Tossing the organ aside, Laughing Jack noticed that Isaac was beginning to drift into death.
Feeling tired already? Why, we're nearly at the grand finale.
Laughing Jack exclaimed as he reached into his sleeve and pulled out a long adrenaline needle.
This ought to perk you right up. Capital right. The whole word is capital.
Jack shouted as he slammed the needle right into Isaac's retina and injected the liquid into his right eye socket. Ew. Jack wiggled and twisted the needle further into his old playmate's eyeball as Isaac was reeled back into life to the feeling of a sharp needle scraping the back of his eye socket. With a sinister chuckle, Jack yanked the needle out, pulling the eyeball out with it. Isaac's right eye now hung out of its socket by the eye stalk as it dribbled down the side of his face. 4 more paragraphs. Okay, you can do this. Jack smirked. Well, now that I have your full attention, ... The insidious clown then took his long, crooked index finger and poked a hole into Isaac's stomach. Jack lowered his head down toward the open chest cavity and stretched his mouth open wide. Within seconds, a torrent of filthy cockroaches started crawling out of the clown's gullet, spilling onto Isaac's open chest. Each vile roach crawled and pushed its way into the small opening in Isaac's stomach, filling it from within full of disgusting, writhing bugs. As his stomach became bloated with bugs, the roaches began to scurry up his throat, squeezing their way out of his mouth and nasal cavity. Just really fucking gross visuals for the sake of it. This story sucks. Isaac was inches from death when his captor kneeled beside him and spoke into his ear. It's been a blast, kiddo. But it looks like our time together is about up. No need for tears, though, because I plan to spread my friendship like how I spread my asshole open to all the lonely kids of the world. And with that said, Laughing Jack reached into Isaac's chest and yanked out his still beating heart. Fucking Indiana Jones bullshit. As his life bled out on that cold wooden bed. As his life bled out. Yeah, that's great writing. Isaac's life flashed before his eyes. He saw his mother, his father, the boarding school, his victims, and the last thought that fluttered through his mind was of that very special Christmas where he woke up to find the beautifully hand-carved wooden box that contained his very first friend, ... There are rumors that when the police finally found Isaac Grossman's rotten, maggot-infested corpse weeks later on Christmas Eve, that even though his face had been bashed and torn to bits, ... he almost looked ... capital H happy. Then end. Holy shit, that sucked. That was one of the most painfully long stories I've ever read. Ugh. And that third act, that last part, just so much worse than the first one. And I thought the first one was bad. Fuck. And it has the same problems as the first, where it's just pointless violence for the sake of it. It's not scary. It's just tasteless and gross. And Isaac kind of just became a psychopath for no reason. Like, there was no indication whatsoever that he'd become a serial killer or something. Just one day he was just like,
Hey, Laughing Jack, can you kill this cat? Okay, cool.
it's just like, it just comes out of nowhere. And to top it all off, I honestly think the worst thing about this story is how it handles stuff like sexual assault and rape. Like, that is so fucking tasteless. Like, in a horror story, I feel like it's just really fucking unnecessary, and it's just there to shock the reader. It's literally, this is just, it's trying to be a shocking story, right? When it doesn't come off as shocking. I wasn't shocked. I was repulsed. I was repulsed by the gore. I was repulsed by the sexual assault scenes, and that is not a good thing. Right? The author can probably backpedal and say that was their intention the whole time, but honestly, I think this is just one of those stories that thinks shocking equals scary, which it does not. That was like genuinely one of the worst stories I've ever read. The first one was bad, but fuck. The origin story, 10 times worse. Easily 10 times worse. Next time, I'm gonna be reading a couple Jeff the Killer ripoffs, so yeah, you can look forward to that. But I'm gonna need to take a break for a moment because holy shit, that was bad. That was genuinely one of the worst creepypastas that I've ever fucking laid my eyes on. Like genuinely terrible. Like shit like Sonic EXE Round 2 doesn't even fucking come close. Doesn't even come close. But yeah, those were the two canon Laughing Jack stories. I am going to stay far away from Laughing Jack from now on. That was fucking bad. Alright, well, see you guys.